Welcome to the Story World channel. Enjoy your viewing experience. Since his early days, Barry had lived a life of privilege. His father owned multiple car dealerships, and there was never a thing Barry desired that he didn't receive. However, despite his father's hopes that the family business would pass on to him one day, Barry had different aspirations altogether. He had a passion for drawing and playing the guitar, dreaming of becoming a renowned artist or musician in the future. As the years went by, Barry's enthusiasm for his artistic dreams only grew. He would eagerly share with his father stories of concerts, favorite bands, and new art exhibitions at galleries. One day, Mr. Hamilton decided to broach the subject of marriage with his 30-year-old son, hoping to steer him towards a more business-oriented path. "Barry, have you ever thought about getting married?" Mr. Hamilton asked, trying to rationalize his son's future. "I haven't really thought about it," Barry replied nonchalantly. "I already have a business partner with a wonderful daughter who knows how to handle the business. She has been representing her father in meetings and taking charge of things." Mr. Hamilton saw an opportunity to unite the companies through marriage, which would secure the family legacy. But Barry wasn't too keen on the idea, as he felt his true calling lay in pursuing his musical ambitions. Things were just starting to take off for his band, and he didn't want to give up on that dream. "I don't think I'm ready to settle down and take over your car dealership," Barry said, feeling the weight of the decision. His father remained calm and surprisingly understanding. "Do what you want," he replied, leaving the decision in Barry's hands. Mr. Hamilton had another plan in mind. He wanted Barry to marry Colin, his business partner's daughter. He believed that this union would ensure the success and continuity of the businesses. However, Barry was taken aback by the proposal. "Are you kidding me?" Barry exclaimed, astonished by his father's suggestion. "I see that you are not interested in the business," Mr. Hamilton said calmly. "And I am getting old and tired, but I don't want to give up my life's work. Marrying Colin will secure our family's future. She will handle everything, and if you have children, the business can pass on to them eventually." Mr. Hamilton left his son's apartment after sharing his thoughts, leaving Barry to ponder this unexpected proposition. The weight of responsibility and tradition clashed with Barry's artistic dreams, and he knew he had a tough decision to make about his future. Barry found himself entangled in conflicting emotions. On one hand, he grappled with an understanding of his father's perspective. Throughout his life, he had carried the weight of feeling like a disappointment to his father. However, the complexities of his father's car dealership business eluded him. He couldn't wrap his head around decisions like which services to offer, pricing strategies to avoid financial collapse, and how to attract more consumers. The concepts discussed casually by his father, like indexing and other industry jargon, felt alien to him. On the other hand, Colin, someone familiar with these concepts, seemed to hold the key to saving and expanding the business. His father even proposed the idea of marriage to solidify their partnership, ensuring they wouldn't lose anything in the process. But as much as this proposition made business sense, it troubled Barry deeply. He couldn't shake the feeling that he was being treated as a mere commodity, a means of payment for securing the business's future. The idea did not sit well with him at all, leaving him grappling with his emotions. Meanwhile, Mr. Hamilton drove around the city in the evening, contemplating the crucial decision at hand. He knew that this moment would define his son's life, and he wrestled with the reality that he had never truly taught Barry how to make important decisions. Despite his concerns, he believed that Colin's strong character could transform his son into a capable and decisive individual. At the same time, he worried about Barry's lack of ambition and responsibility, fearing that if he inherited the business, he would squander the wealth on frivolous pursuits. Though the inheritance was substantial, Mr. Hamilton knew that the world offered limitless temptations. Feeling anxious and conflicted, Mr. Hamilton lit a cigarette, a rare indulgence as he usually prioritized his health. However, his concern for his son's future weighed heavily on his heart. The following day, Barry reached a momentous decision. A sleepless night had been consumed by thoughts about his future and the implications of the proposed marriage. He contemplated what marrying Colin could offer him and whether it was the right path to take. His mind whirled with uncertainty, and he questioned whether she could truly be trusted. His father had described Colin as a beautiful and reliable partner, but Barry wondered if there might be hidden intentions or consequences he couldn't foresee. He grappled with the idea of committing to a life-altering decision without complete certainty about its outcome. In the end, Barry realized that this decision would shape not only his own destiny, but also the future of the business and his relationship with his father. He knew he needed to confront his fears and face the complexity of the situation head-on. Whatever he chose, he understood that the consequences would be significant, and he was determined to make the right choice, guided not only by his father's business interests, but also by his own values and principles. On the flip side, Barry felt like a coin tossed between two outcomes. His father's voice echoed through the receiver as he greeted him. "Hello, Dad." "Hi, Barry," his father replied. "I've been thinking about your words, and, well, I can't just make an offer at the first meeting like that. I haven't even seen her once." The despair in Barry's voice was evident as he shouted, "But if so, Dad, then okay, I'll do as you said." Mr. Hamilton let out a heavy sigh, trying to reassure his son. "Don't worry about it. I'll talk to my partner. If you agree, he will explain everything to his daughter. No one will force you." Barry's heart pounded as if he were being called to the front of the class for the first time without knowing the material. Yet, he found solace in his father's approval, considering it the highest compliment. Days passed, and Mr. Hamilton engaged in negotiations with his partner. The deal proved to be profitable, and Mr. Beckman was willing to talk to his daughter about it. Colin quickly grasped what a good offer it was and responded positively. To her, Barry was more of a business partner than a future husband. If necessary, she would buy out his share and divorce without any qualms. While Mr. Hamilton cared deeply for his son, he also recognized that if Barry became a burden to Colin, she would not hesitate to cut ties. Given Barry's lack of involvement in his father's business at the age of 30, this scenario seemed plausible. Nevertheless, Colin, being only 24 years old, had her entire life ahead of her and could afford to indulge in love games with benefits if she chose to do so in the future. To some extent, it reminded her of making investments, a realm she was already familiar with. One evening, Mr. Hamilton paid a visit to his son. They enjoyed dinner together while discussing the unfolding situation. The atmosphere was tense, but there was a sense of hope that this arranged alliance could lead to a mutually beneficial outcome for both Barry and Colin. Barry's mind was still in turmoil, but he realized that the die had been cast. With determination, he decided to approach this like a challenge, an opportunity to face uncertainty and grow from it. He was uncertain about the future, but he embraced the idea of rehearsals with his new band, finding solace in music during these unsettling times. As days turned into weeks, Barry and Colin's paths slowly intertwined. Both had reservations and doubts, but they also acknowledged the potential for growth and prosperity in their partnership. The future remained uncertain, like an unwritten story, waiting to unfold with twists and turns that would test their resilience and commitment. Amidst the uncertainties, Barry's heart found a flicker of excitement, knowing that whatever the outcome, he was venturing into a new chapter of life. The blend of emotions, anxiety, curiosity, and hope, painted the canvas of his mind, making him feel alive and present in the unfolding drama of his own life story. "We are on the verge of finalizing a significant merger deal," Mr. Hamilton declared with an air of importance. "I have spoken to my partner, and his daughter, Colin, comprehends the situation and has agreed to the marriage. Your acquaintance with her is scheduled for tomorrow, so do your best to make a good impression." Stuart's brows furrowed as he responded, "It's strange, Father. I feel like an instrument in all of this." Mr. Hamilton replied, "We have already discussed this, Stuart. I understand why you may perceive it that way, but I cannot let you tie your life to someone you don't love. In our time, marriages for calculation are far more common than you might think," Mr. Hamilton continued, "and I do understand that. Do you think I haven't thought this over? I may not fully grasp your business, but I'm not a complete idiot." "You're not an idiot," his father reassured him, "and if you can't get along after the meeting, we agreed to cancel the deal. So nothing will change in your life if you don't want it to." These words made Barry believe that his father was not merely treating him as a tool for the deal. There was still a choice, even if that choice could potentially harm the family business. The gesture touched Barry, and he decided to find any positive trait in Colin that he could cling to. Barry found it difficult to fall asleep that night. His father had mentioned that Colin would be waiting for him at the restaurant, table 17, but he hadn't seen a photo of her. The uncertainty troubled him, and he couldn't help but wonder, is she really that ugly? By the time morning arrived, Barry had already imagined a bleak future for himself. He even contemplated not going to the restaurant. However, he reminded himself that his father had given him the option to refuse. "For my dad's sake, I'll go," Stuart decided and proceeded to the meeting. Approaching the hostess, Barry politely inquired, "Hello, I have a table reserved, number 17. Could you please show me to it?" "Of course," the woman behind the counter replied warmly, offering a friendly smile. Despite trying to shake off his gloomy thoughts, Barry couldn't fully rid himself of the unease until he finally laid eyes on Colin. To his surprise, she turned out to be a petite girl with adorable red curls. However, her facial expression was rather stern, and the glasses she wore gave her an air of seriousness. She was sitting with a laptop, sipping lemonade with ice. "Hi," the guy greeted her, feeling a mix of nervousness and curiosity. "You're Colin, aren't you?" As Stuart gazed back at the girl from behind her glasses, he mustered a friendly smile. "Hi, yes, and you're Colin, I presume," he responded, shaking her outstretched hand. "Yes, that's me," Colin confirmed. Stuart's courteous gesture of lightly kissing her fingers earned him a compliment. "Oh, you're a gentleman," she said, inviting him to sit down. "Let's order some food. I haven't even had breakfast yet." Curiosity got the better of Stuart, who was quite interested in Colin and even suspected that she might have developed some affection for him already. "What have you been up to?" he asked. "Just some business," Colin shrugged. "I feel like having pasta and salad today," she decided promptly. Stuart pondered the menu with his eyes, trying to make a choice. How about the same?" Colin suggested. The unsuspecting guy agreed, unaware that Colin was subtly testing his decisiveness. By the end of their first meeting, Colin had formed a clear opinion about Stuart. While he was pleasant to converse with, she couldn't help but see him as somewhat frivolous. He lacked the sense of responsibility and decisiveness she desired in a partner. Nevertheless, for the time being, she saw the potential for a profitable deal in their marriage. Meanwhile, Stuart found himself falling head over heels in love with Colin. Her stern demeanor didn't discourage him. Instead, he found her enchanting, especially as her curls shimmered beautifully in the rays of the setting sun. He admired her knowledge and felt a twinge of self-consciousness about his own creative nature. As they strolled to the park to chat some more, Stuart mustered the courage to ask a question. "I'm just curious, but how can such an attractive girl like you still be without a crowd of suitors?" he inquired. Colin looked at him strangely before replying, "Stuart, listen. Our marriage is going to be a calculated one. There's no need to pretend to be in love or shower me with compliments." The words hit Stuart like a cold shower, and he was taken aback. "But I'm not pretending anything," he protested, feeling a mix of confusion and disappointment. He genuinely believed his feelings were authentic. Colin sat down on a bench, gazing at him intently. I'm not saying you're pretending, but we both know that practical considerations led us to this marriage, she clarified. There's no need to put on a show. Stuart was left to grapple with his emotions, wondering if he could win Colin's heart despite the calculated nature of their relationship. He realized that he needed to prove to her that his love was genuine and that he could be the partner she truly needed. The challenge was laid before him, and he was determined to prove himself to Colin. Colin raised an eyebrow in response. Really? Stuart moved closer, taking her delicate hand in his. Yes, I really like you, he confessed, hoping to make his feelings clear. I hope I didn't leave you indifferent either. Something stirred in Colin's chest as she looked into Stuart's eyes. She didn't want to hurt or offend him. He genuinely seemed to have fallen for her. Colin didn't want to blatantly lie about her feelings, so she simply pursed her lips, struggling to find the right words. I see, Stuart replied, his disappointment evident as he withdrew his hand and let out a heavy sigh. Colin sighed too, feeling sorry for him. You seemed indecisive, she finally explained. You know, it's not necessarily a bad thing. A softer character can be much better than a prickly one like mine. Stuart looked visibly upset, and Colin regretted her words. Listen, I agreed to get married if you did too. I think I can change my mind, he unexpectedly responded, surprising Colin with his determination. Her lips curved into a smile. Well, that was a firm decision. All right, I have to go home. I'd like to review the quarterly financial reports, she said, diverting the conversation. Stuart didn't give up easily. Colin, you know, he suddenly said, a man can not only run a business. Come to my first concert. I have my own band. Maybe you'll like it. Colin hesitated. I don't know, she answered doubtfully. I don't really like noisy gatherings. Stuart playfully teased. Did you want to have a wedding in silence? Colin grinned in response, conceding, you got me. Okay, I'll come. Text me the address. Of course, Stuart replied happily. As they said goodbye, Stuart's mind was already racing with ideas on how to impress Colin. He was determined to win her over, to show her a different side of himself. Meanwhile, Colin found herself experiencing strange feelings she hadn't encountered before. Stuart's softness and determination had caught her off guard. As they said their goodbyes, she saw him in a new light, almost as if he had transformed right before her eyes. Had her initial impression of him been deceptive? Stuart spent the following month rehearsing tirelessly with his band, motivated to impress Colin and show her the strong and decisive side of him. While he might not be a business shark, he knew he was skilled in other areas. He finally found a club that provided platforms for aspiring musicians to perform live. The night of his first concert arrived, and Stuart's heart pounded with anticipation. He hoped that through his music, he could reveal his soul and capture Colin's heart in a way that words couldn't express. The stage was set for a pivotal moment in their evolving connection. Certainly, the opportunity to perform was presented to Stuart without any cost, but his determination and passion were so strong that he would have gladly paid for a chance to showcase his talent on a stage. In addition to the thrill of performing, he envisioned a bright future ahead. With a few successful shows under their belt, Stuart believed they could elevate to the next level, selling tickets to their performances. This would transform him into not just an artist, but also a savvy businessman, all while staying true to the field he loved. In short, Stuart was wholly immersed in the business aspect of his passion, exploring the opportunities that lay before him. One evening, Stuart's father, Mr. Hamilton, paid him a worried visit. As he entered, relief washed over him. "Thank God you're okay," he exclaimed. Stuart, puzzled by his father's concern, asked, "Why wouldn't I be okay?" Mr. Hamilton, half-jokingly, retorted, "Are you kidding at me, Grandma? Your phone has been unreachable for a week, and you haven't logged into social media. What are you even doing?" Rubbing his forehead, Stuart replied nonchalantly, "Oh, it's probably dead." "Don't worry about me. I'm just rehearsing a lot right now. I want to give my first concert." "You should have told me about it earlier," said his father, a mix of concern and understanding in his voice. "Okay, I see that you're fine. If you need anything, call me, but don't disappear like that again, okay?" Mr. Hamilton expressed, wanting to ensure his son's well-being. "I'll try my best, but lovers don't watch the clock," Stuart grinned, hinting at a newfound romance. Curious, his father asked, "Are you in love?" "With whom?" Mr. Hamilton's eyes widened with curiosity. "Colin, who else?" Stuart replied, the affection in his voice evident. Relieved, Mr. Hamilton sighed. "I thought there are so many girls out there." No, I only need her," Barry firmly declared, revealing the depth of his feelings. Hamilton couldn't help but notice the changes in his son over the past month. Barry had matured, becoming more serious and focused. While his father had initially seen his music as a simple hobby, the progress Barry had made was now undeniable. Determined to win Colin's heart, Barry put his best foot forward and spared no effort to charm her. His persistent and thoughtful behavior pleased his father, who recognized it as a manifestation of newfound decisiveness, something Barry had always lacked before. The eagerly awaited day of the concert finally arrived. Barry sent a special invitation to Colin, and to his delight, she agreed to come, promising to be there from the very beginning. Filled with excitement, Barry attended the concert with a mix of nervousness and anticipation. The draw determined that his group would perform first, and as the time approached, Barry eagerly scanned the crowd, searching for Colin among the sea of faces. His heart was pounding, knowing that this performance was not only about his passion for music, but also about revealing his feelings to the one he cared for deeply. And then, amidst the vibrant atmosphere of the venue, his eyes fell upon her, the fragile girl who seemed slightly uncomfortable, but she masked it well. Colin sat gracefully at a table on the second floor, enjoying a beautiful view of the stage. Barry felt the rhythm of the music pulling him towards the dance floor, eager to have a good time. However, he hesitated to ask Colin to join him, knowing that she was already feeling a bit tense in this environment. He decided to let her acclimatize herself to such places first before suggesting dancing together. As the band tuned their instruments and took the stage, Colin smiled warmly at Barry, who reciprocated with a beaming grin. Addressing the audience, he turned his attention directly to Colin, expressing his heartfelt gratitude for her presence at the concert and the chance she gave him. The boys had put in countless hours of rehearsal, and their performance was a resounding success. Eager to be by Colin's side, Barry hurried towards her table. However, an unpleasant surprise awaited him. A drunken man loomed over Colin, who clearly wanted to be left alone. "Hey!" Barry shouted, concern and determination in his voice. "Any problems?" Colin looked gratefully at him, her unease fading. "What problems? I'm just getting to know this guy," she replied, signaling her disinterest in the man's advances. The drunkard mumbled something incoherent, but seeing Barry's resolve, he raised his hands in a gesture of surrender and stumbled away. "I didn't think you were a chivalrous type," Colin teased, impressed by Barry's protective instincts. "It's not chivalry," Barry shrugged modestly. Anyone would have done the same. He chose not to reveal that this had been his first serious confrontation. Back in school, he had once had a minor altercation, but generally he was a peaceful person who avoided trouble. However, he was willing to fight for Colin, even if it meant stepping out of his comfort zone. "But not my ex, right?" Colin's eyes held a hint of curiosity, her perception of Barry evolving during their time together. Barry's heart skipped a beat, but he managed a genuine smile. "Things have changed a lot since then." "Is that a good thing or a bad thing?" Colin inquired playfully, taking a step closer to him. "It's definitely a good thing," Barry assured her, grateful for the opportunity to open up his heart. Over the next few months, Barry continued his pursuit of winning Colin's heart. He took her on delightful outings to movies, restaurants, and even discovered a car museum that captivated her. As their bond grew stronger, Barry knew he had found something special, a connection that transcended mere words, flourishing through shared experiences and genuine affection. Stewart was determined to show Colin that their interests could be deeply shared, and in the process, he found himself gradually developing a genuine fascination with the car business. The merger documents for the companies were all set, but Barry kept postponing the wedding. His intentions were driven by love, not calculation, and he wanted every aspect of their union to be guided by genuine affection. Mr. Hamilton, understanding his son's steadfastness, didn't rush him into anything. He observed how resolute Stewart was, and he respected his son's decision wholeheartedly. Meanwhile, Stewart, pursuing his passion, recorded several songs with his band, and to his delight, his performances started bringing in some earnings. Though it wasn't millions yet, his ambitious spirit believed that the best was yet to come. Furthermore, Barry delved deeper into the intricacies of the car business, with some assistance from his father, of course. As time passed, Mr. Hamilton's confidence in the future of their business, with his son by his side, grew immensely. Colin observed the remarkable transformation in Stewart, and she could hardly believe her eyes as the boy she once knew evolved into a remarkable man within just a few months. One fine evening, Barry arranged a romantic dinner for Colin at an upscale restaurant, complete with her favorite Italian cuisine and soft, romantic music playing in the background. He had meticulously planned every detail, and when Colin stepped out of the taxi, he was fully prepared for his heartfelt confession. "I know my words won't come as a surprise," he began, looking into her eyes with sincerity, "but being with you has truly changed me. I wanted to become a better version of myself for you, so you wouldn't have to endure anything less in life. I want everything between us to be genuine from the very beginning. I want us to get married for love." With his heart racing, Stewart got down on one knee, opening a small box that held a sparkling engagement ring. "Will you marry me?" he asked, hope and love evident in his eyes. Colin's face lit up with happiness, and she joyfully embraced her fiancé. "Of course, Barry, of course, I agree," she replied, her voice filled with love and excitement. 2 months later, the couple exchanged vows and tied the knot, bringing immense joy to both sets of parents. Initially, there were concerns that their children might not truly love each other and wouldn't be on board with the wedding. However, Stewart and Colin's genuine happiness and affection for each other shone brightly, leaving no room for doubt. Smiles adorned their faces throughout the celebrations as they embraced their new life together. As they embarked on their journey as a married couple, Stewart and Colin began jointly managing their parents' businesses. Colin was amazed at how skillfully Stewart handled all the intricacies of the car business, proving himself to be an indispensable partner. He willingly left his band behind as a hobby and fully immersed himself in the world of automobiles.